Hey everyone, I wanted to share with you today something that is one of the biggest budget busters that we have. All right, so there are a lot of big budget busters. Usually it's people's rent, it's their mortgage, it's car payments, stuff like that. And the biggest one that we're seeing today, it's very popular. More than 30% of Americans have them. And I think now they're expecting that in the next several years, more than 40% of people who have them will wind up defaulting on them. But it's student loans. Student loans are one of the biggest budget busters. And I know that personally. So just so you know, how I've come to find out a lot of the information I know about student loans, it's personal knowledge. I've come to find out the reality myself, the harsh reality of how much they really impact your budget. A little bit backstory of me. I was practicing law full time. I was an assistant attorney general, and even though I was one of the highest paid prosecutors in the state, my paycheck, most of my paycheck, was still being sucked up by student loans. So at one point in time, my student loan payments were $1,600 a month. That was twice of what my rent payment was. I found a really good low rent payment. Remember, you get what you pay for with that. So there's one point in my the place I was renting where like a little plant was growing through the floor, and the closet literally fell out. It was a raised duplex. The closet floor fell out of the closet. But hey, it was $800 a month, and I was single, and I didn't care. But it really put a lot of pressure on me. There's no way I could rent anywhere better than that. I couldn't pay any more than $800 a month because, like I said, my student loan payments were $1,600, and it just really affected everything. It affected how often I can go hang out with my friends. If they were wanting to go to a trip or on vacation or something, everybody go to the beach or something for the weekend. I couldn't afford to do it. I didn't have the extra money. So I remember there was a time I couldn't afford to drive home because I couldn't pay for gas for Thanksgiving to drive home. So I didn't even make it to family Thanksgiving. So that was a big way that it affected me. So over the last several years, I have really dove into trying to figure out the best ways to lower your student loan payments, but also, if possible, eliminate them. And I've been able to do both. So with federal loans, I'm not going to talk about private loans. There's a lot of other stuff with private loans, and I can do a separate video with that. Just want to talk about federal loans today and how you can really reduce those payments. Most likely, I'm not going to say that everybody can, but if you qualify for certain programs, you can reduce your payment or even have it be a $0 payment. So let me tell you about these programs. So number one is I want you to know the federal government isn't just going to say, oh, well, there's a better qualified plan for you that's going to save you money and it's going to make the government less interest. It's going to help you out. We're just going to go ahead and put you in there and put you in this program. They don't do that. They're not going to do that. You have to call in and actually request to be in these different programs and fill out whatever paperwork they want you to fill out for them. So you have to be aware of that. I will tell you one of mine, one of the programs I got into. Now I'll tell you where I started. My federal student loan, as of 3 years ago, my federal student loan payment was $537.56. So it was a very pricey payment. I mean, that's more than most people's car payments. $537. I mean, think about payments you have, and how many would add up to that. So that presented a big struggle for me and for my family with our budget. We had our mortgage, or at the time I got this change, we had our rent, and we were renting. So that was our highest expense. And then right under that was the federal student loan. So there was nothing else more expensive than that for us. So I called in, and first I was doing some research, and I was looking at the different government programs. And I'll tell you, there's one. It's called. You need to look into this one. It's called Repay. It's REPAYE. It stands for Revised Pay as You Earn. So it was at the time it was one of the newest programs. I think it still is the newest one, or the most. I'll say the most recent one. And what it does is it is definitely the most beneficial. And when I was looking at it, I said, there's no way we're going to qualify. Don't prejudge this, because I'm telling you, you may qualify. I thought, you know what, we make way more money than the majority of Americans. We make a lot of money, and I said, you know what, we're not going to qualify because of our income level. We just make too much, but it never hurts to ask. And I'm glad that I live by that motto, because I always ask, and more times than not, it's more beneficial. So the lady asked what I made, after what we made after taxes, state we lived in, how many dependents we have, if my wife has student loans, and that was it. Those were the questions. And she said, all right, you qualify. And I was like, what? I qualify? Well, I said, tell me exactly. I want to make sure. Like, I read this online. I want you to tell me what that means that I qualify. What does this mean? She said, well, this is how it works with the Repay Program on subsidized loans. And by the way, let me back up just a bit. If you want to know if you have federal loans or private loans or both, this is a really good indicator if you have federal loans. The indicator is if it says on your loans that you have subsidized or unsubsidized. It'll say most of them say sub or unsub. So if it says subsidized or unsubsidized loans, then you have federal loans. So be on the lookout for that. And there are a lot more beneficial programs for federal loans than there are for private loans. So, anyways, she was telling me for the Repay Program, the federal subsidized loans. Get this: on the subsidized loans, the government pays 100% of the interest payments. 100%. They cover 100% on subsidized loans for 3 years. Now, you have to recertify every year your income, what you're making, if anything else changed, if you live in another state or whatever. You just have to submit, I think it's like one piece of paper recertifying that nothing's changed. Everything's the same. But you have to do that every year. So for 3 straight years, 3 consecutive years, the government will pay 100% of the interest on your subsidized loans. So that lowered my payment big time, because over 75% of my monthly payment was going to interest. On the unsubsidized loans, the government pays 50% of the interest, the interest payments. So I had one federal subsidized loan, and I had one federal unsubsidized loan, both with the same company, and they so now the government wasn't paying 100% of the interest on my subsidized loan. They were paying 50% of the interest on my unsub, so they're paying $150. So my payment went from $537.56 to I think it was about $141. So it was about a $400 difference. I mean, that was a huge difference for me, and so I was very ecstatic about that. And that was a big boost in our budget that really helped our cash flow. And that's what I'm all about, just helping people increase their cash flow. Either get a positive cash flow or take a positive cash flow and grow it. Help you increase your positive cash flow. The more income coming into the house, the less going out, the bigger the cash flow, the less stress you're going to have financially, better your life is going to be. So that's where it was. I got it down to about 141, I think is what it was. So it's about $400 difference, which is just insane. And just a note real quick, on the subsidized loan, the lady said, well, yeah, I just got to let you know, after 3 years on the subsidized loan, the government is only going to pay 50% of the interest on the subsidized loan after 3 years. And I said, I don't care if it's half a percent interest that they're paying. They're still paying more than I'm not having to pay, so I'm happy with it. So that was great. Also, this isn't like a refinancing thing. This doesn't do anything to your credit, so you don't have to worry about that. You're just in a different payment program. It does nothing to your credit at all, so you're safe there. Um, and and I will tell you from there, what you want to do is I started working with a firm. It's like I think it's kind of like a pseudo like law firm slash CPA firm, accounting firm or whatever, and they specify in student loans. So I pay this firm. I got in touch with this firm. One of my friends referred me to them 2 years ago, and I got in touch with this firm, and they said we think that you qualify for a $0 monthly payment. I said, well, how the heck do I do that? They said, well, here, fill out this paperwork. Let's see. Let's, check out your FAFSA information, and let's see if you do. And we started going through the wording, and he said, well, look, you're a lawyer. You tell me. Do you not agree? Does this not say, A, B, and C? And I said, yeah, it does. And he says, well, then you qualify. So, okay, well, great. So, submitted the paperwork, got the stamp of approval from the Federal Student Loan Company. They said I do qualify for a $0 qualified payment, which, by the way, a qualified payment is, when you're reaching that for your loans being forgiven mark, like after 10 or 20 years, 15 years, whatever it is, every monthly payment needs to be a qualified payment for it to be forgiven. So I have $0 qualified payments. That means they count towards that amount, and then you have your loan erased. At the end is forgiven, and then you just pay whatever tax bracket you're in, whatever percentage tax bracket you're in. You pay that percent after 10 or 20 years, whenever it is, on the amount that is forgiven. So what they do is they take the interest and they add it to the principal, and they make it all principal, and they forgive it all. And so if it's like, 50,000, and you over that time frame you're paying $0 payments, and it goes up to 25,000, up 25,000, so 75,000 total. You pay the interest, or you pay the percentage that's forgiven. So if you're at a 20% tax bracket, you pay 20% of 75,000, which is obviously less than 75,000. So you're coming out way ahead, no matter what. So anyway, so if I will put the name and the phone number in the comment section for if anybody's interested in reaching out to them. You just tell them that James Rutter sent you. When I was referred, because I told them I was referred by somebody else, they asked who. I told them who, and they said, okay, well, you get a friends and family discount, which was half price. So I got a great big discount. I pay them, every year to not pay, to pay $0 a year. I pay them, once a year to handle all that, and they make sure if any new programs come out that they get me in them that would be beneficial to me. So, anyways, that's the news on federal loans. I hope I didn't leave anything out here. If you do have any questions about them, I'm not an expert, but I do know more than the average person. So, this is if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. I got a lot of videos in here that'll just add value to you, help you save money. I'm going to put a lot more out, so make sure you subscribe to the value channel. And I hope that added value to you today. Have a good one.